Yo, no maniacs, kids. You are on mute. Welcome to the show. This is Nomad Live.
That's why.
Biscuit. The whole thing going on in the green room. People, you don't want to know about it. It's all food related. But welcome to the show, man. This is Nomad Live, all Bears all the time, in conjunction with Sports Zone Chicago and the SuperBack Shawn Sierra. We got the building, and we got Keith down there looking like he just had some damn catnip or something. I don't know what his problem is today. But welcome to the show, man. Let me see. I'm give some shout outs. Plank, Cornelius, let me see. Jay Sanders, AC Adam, Mayhem, PZ, FFG Style. Welcome to the show, guys. Hey, look, man. Let me get the obvious out of the way first so we can be done with it. The question still remains: what are we going to do with the number one pick? But I thought today would be a good time to get that off of the plate for a minute because nobody knows anything. It's all pure speculation and just reporters saying this, reporters saying that, and people in the fan base believing what they believe. But this is a good time to take a break from that and do an exercise of who, because this is coming faster than we think. What is it, about a week or so from now? We're going to be looking at who we signing in free agency. And so what we did today, we decided to go with the defenders. And what we'll do is go from backside defense, from the corners to the safeties, all the way up into the front side, ending with the defensive ends. And we'll kind of do a mock simulation of, what the values are for those positions and players and what it might cost the Bear to acquire these talents. And so, yeah, just today, just for a little while, man, let's get away from the quarterback talk and leave that to, Twitter spaces and, articles and stuff like that. And let's just talk about what's coming up faster than anything, and that is free agency. Kids, how are you doing, Mr. Canuck?
Doing all right. See the new digs, y'all? The brand new digs. I've moved into the new Ked Cave. Enjoy. Canuck Cave. Yeah, man.
Donut.
Some of us are on diets. I apologize for eating just a ridiculous donut right now. I'm sorry. I will put the donut situation on full pause and say what's up to all y'all nomadiacs in the chat. Thanks for representing with us. Let's get to it. Let's take a look at free agency and what we can get to.
Go ahead, Keith.
Good afternoon, everybody. No maniacs, how y'all doing today? To the Sports Zone Chicagoans, how y'all doing? Hey, man, it's a wonderful day to talk football. And let's talk about these free agents that's getting ready to hit the market so we can see who we may take. Shawn, my man, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. A little tired. CrossFit. I went to CrossFit 4 days in a row.
Hungry,
so I'm a little tired. Ding ding. Just remember, ding ding.
Hey, leave man alone, man. Don't get him in cuss together.
Just remember. Ding ding. Thank you very much.
All right, you owe me one.
Hey. No, that's funny because I would do the same thing to you, bro. So it's I can pitch and catch. Pause. All right, just so you know. I'm ready to get at it, man.
So what we ought to do, like I said at the very beginning, I think going from back to front. So maybe Chris, what did he say? Corner, safety, or safety corner? I don't remember. All right, let's go safety. Let's do that. Let's start here and look at the most. You might have to take the chat down a little bit, Brian, just for a minute, so we can take a look at this list here. And don't you guys keep it coming in the chat. We just won't be able to post them for a minute while we look at this list of players. So up at the very top of the list is Kevin Byard. Chris, if you want to come in and chime in, you're better at doing this than me because you do it on a regular basis. That'd be great. And kind of go down the list of, prices and all that kind of stuff. Let's start with Kevin Byard, though.
Well, to let everybody know, we're using the Spot Track projections.
Courtesy of Spot Track.
All the market values would be from Spot Track.
Okay, so Kevin Byard, we got Kevin Byard at the very top and CJ Gardner Johnson down at the very bottom at $6.5 million. Circle that name. And remember, guys, he's inside the division. Matter of fact, let's just start there first. Inside the division, we get a chance to kind of neuter an opponent in the division, right? And I think CJ Gardner Johnson is the SHIT, to be quite frank with you. And if he's healthy at that price, guys, let's talk about that, kids. I see you shaking your head, but I don't know why.
Because I hate that guy. There's people that I like. There's football players I like. There's football players I don't like. Chauncey Gardner Johnson is squarely on the list of football players I do not like.
Even if he's on your side. Even if he's on your side.
You know, I can understand. Again, I'm a strategic human being. I can understand the benefits of having an absolute knucklehead on your side. Somebody's going to be a thorn in the side of an opponent. Somebody's going to purposefully get into somebody's head, right? Like I can understand it. And again, physically, he's a solid safety. He does the job. But again, I don't like that guy. Like he's the guy that Anthony Miller punched, and so did who was the other one? Wims?
Yeah, it was Wims, Javon Wims.
Javon Wims. So
football.
Both of those guys fought him. I'm under the impression that I think there was some sort of a fight with him in the locker room when he was with the Saints before, as in within his own squad. He's done good stuff with Detroit. Hasn't been an issue there, but he was a little bit hurt, so they're willing to let him go. And I can kind of understand it across the board, but again, I don't like him. But that's simple.
Well, what do you think about him, Keith? I mean, you get the neuter and adversary, the top adversary in your division, man. And CJ Gardner Johnson, man, he ruffles feathers, man. That's what he does, man. But you can get that on your team. You want a little bit of nasty around, don't you? I mean, I'm at $6.5 million though, man. That's what I keep looking at. Get the antics.
Well, see, I know it's the price tag that's really got you salivating. You know how ironic it is that he plays for Detroit or is with Detroit, a la Dennis Rodman, who was a nuisance as well. So I mean, what he can do when healthy, I guess I can live with it. I'm not crazy about him again because I'm like kids. I don't like the guy either, but considering that price tag, if he can stay healthy, maybe not a bad opportunity to grab him, That's the thing, though. Can he stay healthy? There's somebody else I got my eye on, though.
I do too, man. But we're gonna take it easy and just kind of trickle up this list, and when we get to what we get to, we'll wrap it up. But go ahead, Shawn. What do you think about CJ Gardner Johnson?
Yeah, the health is the issue. I do like. I was a big Rodman fan. Okay, I hate him until he's on your squad, and you love the hell out of him.
Yep.
All right, and there's a thing. How many times have we seen on this team, and now in sports in general, where guys don't have that dog in them? You know what I mean? Guys don't. Yeah. They're talented. Don't get me wrong. Talent is through the roof, but there's a difference between being talented and a guy who's talented and a guy who's a dog.
Right.
All right. And we don't have any dogs on our team. Like there's nobody that I can't say, and that's including Sweat. It's a $96 million man.
Look at that statement on the screen. That's a good comparison, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like Alex Caruso. Yeah, so Brisker might be that dude, but damn, he got to stay healthy too. But there's just nobody in that really. I don't want to say strikes fear, but again, just no. Lack of a better term is just we got no dogs back there, man. There's nobody. I don't know who to respect on that defense. All right, Ray Lewis, when he was on the field, you knew he was a dog. With Urlacher, you knew Briggs, you knew they were dogs. All right, those guys, Ed Reed, you knew he was a dog. You know what I mean? Like those type of guys. That dog. You're right, Evie Bear Down. You need somebody that mentality. That's the thing that we're missing. And he'll get in your face, and he plays a psychological game. And that's the thing. Nah, Kometta's not a dog. Stop it. The psychology of it,
he's
getting in your face. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we need. And I'm okay with that. 6.5. That's only what he made last year. That was his AAV last year. Sometime depending on how long it goes, the longer in free agency, and the closer you get to training camp, man, that price comes down quick, fast, in a hurry because you got a lifestyle you got to live. So,
Well, how about this, fellas? Because let's take the chat down for a second, Brian, if you don't mind. Because there's a couple of guys on the list that I wouldn't really consider. We can talk about them if you guys want to. Rayshawn Jenkins, Tracy Walker. Let's just talk a little bit about Quandre Diggs and the price of $13 million.
Ding, 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 ding.
Buda Baker, who is a Swiss Army knife safety, 14-7. Would we Kedz? Would we, at that price, are they a yay or a nay, or do you actually consider who they are bringing them in?
Keep in mind, Nomad, that is their 2023 salary.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So that could be usually it's probably going to be lower.
So why you said that made me think. I don't think Quandre Diggs' price is that high right now. But not to diminish what he is as a player. I think he's a great football player, but 13 million, looking at it on his face, didn't seem quite right. Or 14 for Buda. But you go ahead, Kedz. What do you think about either one of those scenarios?
Yeah, I'm just looking at these numbers here, age, etc. Snaps, how many games played. I think they could probably get a real good deal on Buda Baker, to be honest with you. Buda was out at least 5 games last year, 700 snaps, 710 snaps versus Quandre Diggs, 1,000 plus snaps at 31 years old. Quandre Diggs, just that age case scenario. How long are you going to sign a guy? What is what kind of numbers would you be asking at 31 years old? So if it was me, I would ignore the Quandre Diggs and zero in on Mr. Baker. At first, I was thinking Quandre Diggs, and then I saw the numbers associated with him, including the age. I would probably lean towards a younger Buda Baker, who probably just had a down season because maybe he was hurt or something to that effect. His tackles are right up there with Buda's. At 14-7, you could probably get him at a discount.
I would, you know what, Kedz, I'm glad you said that, because at 28, 14-7 sitting there as a number of last year's value, I think that number dramatically decreases at the age 28 for safety.
I do too.
I'm thinking more like maybe 10, 11.
8. I was thinking 8 to 10.
Yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yep.
Man. I think that's more realistic, to be quite frank with you.
And
Arizona does have the club option too. That's what the CO is there for. The club option number, if they decide to pick it up, is 14-6.
And not only that, Chris, look at how many young 26, 24-year-old safeties are on the board. That's going to decrease the value too, in my estimation.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Keith. I was just kind of setting it up for you.
The age does definitely help. My main concern with all these guys, man, is durability, man. That's the main thing. I want a guy, man, that can play an entire season. I'm tired of guys being out 5, 6, 7 games. It breaks up the continuity on the defense. So that's my concern. But if he can stay healthy and of course at an $8 to $9 million range, then I mean it's worth it even if it's 12 games.
Okay. What are you thinking, Shawn?
I like Buda. That was the first dude I saw, but I know I didn't understand what the status was, but Chris told me what it was. But man, I mean, I think if you got him for 8 to 10, I think they just the Jets they paid him, or Arizona, excuse me, they paid him 14.5. You don't think they're going to sign him for 10? You know what I mean? You're doing them a favor.
Okay. We keep it in consideration, right? Because we're about to. I think I got an idea. I think most people would love to see Buda Baker here. Quandre Diggs just got a lot of miles on him at 31.
What about Jamal Adams?
17 games.
Yeah, and Buda Baker's getting up there too. He's a 28-year-old now. So I think Jamal Adams is completely out of the question, man. It's just injuries. That guy's played like 10 games in 2 years, man. And I don't think it's worth having the conversation, because I wouldn't think, unless they got him for nickels and pennies, I don't see him as a
$5 million.
viable option. I don't think they would do
I
that.
wouldn't even do it at 5, man, honestly.
Yeah.
And gentlemen, there's a couple of interesting names that are not on this list. I just didn't have room to put them on there. But Jeremy Chin out of Southern Illinois, he's interesting. He's still a young guy.
Solid, boy.
Man, yeah, I really liked him coming out of college. He is 26 years old, just turned 26. He'll be available. He's coming out of his rookie contract.
That's a viable option, Chris.
And Julian Blackman, who is familiar with
another one,
Coach Eberflus, he is 25. He's coming out of his rookie contract too. So those are a couple of names that we might want to keep in mind. Also.
But it also depends on what you plan to do with the safety. Like, I mean, don't poo-poo it because he's a high cap value. I'm thinking 10, maybe 12 max. But you get him, what are you going to do with him? Are you going to get rid of him, sign him to a 3-year deal, cut him after 2, and let the guy and you draft a safety, and at that particular point, that dude takes over. Well, remember the cap's still going up, and that big salary comes off the books. So, is this a bridge safety, or is this a guy that you want to be your starting safety for the next 3 to 5 seasons? That's a big difference. What do you want to do? Because if you want 3 to 5 seasons, well, then you got to look the affordable route. If you're looking for a guy for a year or 2, then you can pay a little more because that's coming off the books. And we got 255 for the cap this year. Estimate a projected 285 next year, and projected more than that the year after. And when that comes off the books, now you've created a lot of space for, You've created space for your cap, but you've also have a young safety that you drafted that's got a year or 2 with rotating with this guy, with being in the same meeting room with this guy, learning from this guy, and everything else. It all depends on how you're looking at this free agency and how you want to fill it.
So let me say this, man, because it's all interesting points. A couple of guys I've been looking at privately, and I circled his name, Cameron Curl. Why? Because he's a Commanders. Here's another little aspect to think about. Very recently, they have been doing, like, Cameron Curl is a really solid. This dude's got 115 tackles. You know what I mean? Got one sack, 3 quarterback hits. He has a forced fumble, but no interceptions. He's sitting there, and this is last year. So I imagine, he had a good year this year. That number of 852,000 has got to be quite different right now.
Spot Track has him at 14. They've got him at a market value of $14.4 million.
Which is why he's probably, because I'm surprised that they let him hit because he's 24 years old. But it tells me something else, and I said we weren't going to talk about the quarterback, but they've cleared out a pretty good chunk of money to be able to give a good signing bonus to whatever quarterback they choose. But I think that's an interesting scenario with Cameron Curl. I don't think there's any way he should be on the free agent market. They've got the money to pay him, and he's a really good safety. It just surprises me that he's out there. But when I just think about it, my spidey senses start tingling, and I get to thinking about what kind of move that they want to make here soon.
Nomad, would you put him at free safety though?
Who? Cameron Curl? Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely.
And here's Geno Stone, who a lot of people want to talk about. Mm-hmm. Very, very aggressive, real serious tackler. I mean, he's about as solid as a safety as you can have out there, and he's versatile. Can play the high end, low end,
and durable.
Yeah, he's very durable, man. When you're a Raven, man, you're a certain type of player, and you've got to be that. You've got to be versatile to play in that defense, because he might be high, he might be low at any given game. They might even put you out there in the slot. So Geno Stone for $1.7 million. What do you guys think about those two guys, kids?
Well, so let me say first, Spot Track has him at $7.2 million of market value.
Geno Stone.
Yeah.
You said Geno Stone is $7 million?
$7.2 million would be his calculated market value going into free agency.
That doesn't sound quite right.
Yeah, that's calculated, but you can still. I mean, you can offer him $5. I mean, look at my man's making $1.7. All right, yeah, that jumps up to $5. That's a big increase. That's almost 3 times as much as you're making. It's I know what his market value is, but again, sometimes there's a lot of safeties out there, and sometimes when you sign quickly, you want to know exactly, hey, where am I going? I'm getting, you know what I mean? He may not want to sit and deal with this whole process. He might get the $7 million, but you know what? If you take the $5 million at this particular point, and you got it for 3 years or 5 years or whatever, it's better and know where you're going.
Well, how about this? Go ahead, kid. You got something?
I kind of want to know what the market value for Cam Curl and Xavier McKinney are. Can you tell me that, Chris?
We're gonna get to McKinney here right after this next guy. These next couple of guys, I'm gonna save him for last because that's the guy we want to target. But if you can find the market value, that'd be great, Chris, because we're gonna get to it. But here's what I think are the most likely options, and I'm gonna tell you why. And I'll circle one of them as the probably particular target, and that would be Taylor Rapp and Micah Hyde. I think Micah Hyde, because he's 33 years old, however, is kind of on the side of do we want to do that? And he's listed there as 9'6". That's expensive, but Micah Hyde is very productive. However, I think his understudy for the last couple of years in Buffalo has been Taylor Rapp. And what do we know about Taylor Rapp and Micah Hyde? He's been coached by our new defensive coordinator, right?
Eric Washington. Yeah.
So to me, I think the most likely when we get through with this exercise, I think probably the most likely are one of those two guys.
I think so as well.
And you said McKinney and Curl, kids.
Yeah.
McKinney comes in at 10.4. Excuse me.
Jeez.
And Cameron Curl is 14.4.
All right.
So
let's talk about Rapp and Hyde first. What do you guys think about that? Because we're going to McKinney and Byard last.
I'm not quite. Maybe Geno Stone though. If that's maybe Geno Stone. You think Geno Stone can play free?
Geno Stone is a Swiss Army knife, man. I would like to see him in the box more than I like to see him out high.
But see, we got Brisker in the box, brother.
Well,
that's the point.
Stays hurt.
That's the kind of thing we have to consider. We trying to think of realistic scenarios and how it looks on the field, and considering what we just said between Keith and I, that's one of the reasons why you may not want to go after Geno Stone, because he is absolutely better in the box.
Well, and this is sort of what I'm thinking. Depending on price tags, dollars and cents, you could potentially get two of these guys, right?
I think they'll draft a young safety and get one of these guys as a.
I think that's the better option. But again, given how few draft picks they have at present, I wouldn't be angry if they double down on safety. I think the safety market here is it looks pretty decent, man.
And it's going to probably drive down some guys' prices, man, too.
And
that's true as well.
And that's where we need our most depth in regard to defense right now.
Safety?
I think so, yeah. You guys seen it written. I say that because it seemed like y'all done written off Hicks.
No. I ain't nobody wrote him off. I think Hicks is a good depth.
We don't talk about him. So I assume that y'all done forgot about the kid.
No, man. We've been, before you got here, man, we did so many of these exercises, and every single one of us played.
But I'm talking about the present. We're not going to talk about what you did a couple months ago. Let's talk about the present. And we have not spoken about Mr. Hicks.
All right, man. To me, he's a depth piece. Now, that's what I said. But, I think every one of us, when we did it, always drafted a safety and brought in a mid-tier, at least mid to high tier safety to bridge it in the draft. That's just how we've done it, man. So it wasn't like we disregarded Hicks. I've seen enough to know that I think he's improving, but I don't think he's starter level, if that makes sense.
I think you brought up a
considering
good
the number of snaps that he had or didn't have. I don't think we've had enough to truly say whether he can or can't. I
definitely have. I've seen enough. But if you didn't, that's we two different people. But I don't think he's a starting safety.
I think the approach that we've all pretty much before we talked about was getting a very serviceable, especially. My own scenario that I liked was, I was a big Winfield fan. So if you go swing for the fence, but he's gone. I like the idea of getting a guy like Julian Blackman, who's familiar with Flus. You're not going to spend a ton of money on him. He can start for you, and then if you get some picks, you draft a guy that's going to be the future of free safety.
Well, I think Taylor Rapp, I'm telling you, is going to be probably the guy targeted unless they want to bring
either him or Geno
Hyde.
Stone is on my list, man.
Yeah, or Micah Hyde. If
Geno Stone got 7 interceptions. I just want to throw that out there. That particular.
That's what I said.
He's a ball hawk. I just don't. Yeah. I don't know how well he transitioned. I know he can play both, but I don't think playing out high is his best role. But that's the role they'll be asking him to play, and that's what my mind is watching him on tape. However, man, I think Taylor Rapp and Micah Hyde are the ones. But here's the more interesting conversation, here's quite frankly, Kevin Byard, I think, will be too expensive for us at this time. However, Xavier McKinney, what'd you say his market value is again, Chris?
About 10 mil.
10.4.
I think I'd circle in this list if it was all. I would circle Xavier McKinney, Taylor Rapp, and put a circle around Geno Stone and Cam Curl. Quite frankly, I think those are the ones I would be considering if it were me. But Xavier McKinney, absolutely. If you can get him, I think he's probably got the most upside of everybody on this list. Think, kids.
I can't argue with that, man. I think that's exactly where we can focus. 10 mil. It's probably exactly what they want to pay too. Pretty close to it. They'd be saving a couple of bucks by way of Eddie Jackson. You get a young guy for a decent amount of time. My only worry there is just, again, that he's primarily a strong safety and not a free, and that's really what they need to cover. So they draft a free safety after that. Or again, at 10, if you can get somebody on the cheap who can fill in who can start at free, then maybe you do both, and now you've got depth at the position. And that was sort of what I was thinking before. But you can do it either way here. I like this list of free agent safeties for sure.
Good, Keith.
The price tag. I'm still leaning more toward. I like Rapp, and I think I like him for his age and the fact that the familiarity with him with regard to Eric Washington. I think he would know how to position him. Eric Washington at one point, and he's also coached secondary as well, so he'll know how to implement him into the type of defense that he wants to run based on our personnel.
Oh, whoa. Barlissimo said Kendall Williamson. I didn't know I thought we kept him on the practice squad. But anyway, look, man, one interesting note about the Buffalo secondary. If you watch, I've had to study them on tape quite often this year since we got Eric Washington. And one of the things that's different about how Eric Washington's style of playing the DBs versus what we do and what Flus has done thus far is they'll be closer to the box more often in that style of defense, like both safeties. I mean, they're what they do is they show low, and if one of them has to advance out high post snap, they go. You see a lot more of that than you've seen with Flus's defense with the Bears. So either one of these guys, man, I think Xavier's got the most upside. Micah Hyde would be basically a great bridge safety to if you sign a guy. You know what I mean? If you draft a guy, I meant. But I think it's a very, very valuable safety class without a question. But let's move on to what's that?
I was just going to say market value for Micah Hyde is around it's under $4 million. Like a year or two, like even a 2 year. I know he's really tipping the scales in age, but 2 years,
especially if you draft a safety, man.
This allows you to.
Pose is not going to do it, man. He's not going to do it.
It's way past his age case scenario,
Pose
but he's
brother. That's way past. You talking 5 years past his age, at minimum 28 years of age.
I'll tell you one thing: if Eric Washington is adamant about if we can bring this guy in, it would really shorten the curve to get these guys up and acclimated to what we want to do. They will definitely sign Micah Hyde.
That's the other reason why I'm thinking Micah Hyde.
Okay.
I mean, that's if Eric Washington is adamant about this guy would definitely help me speed up the progress and the process. I could see that happening. But, I think it's a long shot still, Keith. You're probably right. But if I could see somebody standing on the table for Micah Hyde, because Cat is just flat out productive. And you can't just turn your nose up to it. But
just to remind Bearlissimo, Kendall Williamson was cut and picked up by Buffalo.
Wow.
Imagine that.
Okay, let's look at some corners, Chris, and see what that looks like. I don't think there's very much action going on here. And Micah Hyde shows up on this list. Let me look at this list. Levi Wallace is interesting. Sean Murphy Bunting is interesting. And I think any of this conversation, kids, has to start with, because we found out later on, I don't know if we announced it while we were doing the show yesterday, but Jaylon Johnson signed a non-exclusive tag, which means other teams have the opportunity to bid on him, and the Bears have the opportunity to match it. If something happens between now and or something doesn't happen between now and free agency, there's a possibility one of these guys could get uploaded to this roster. I mean, onboarded to this roster.
So this is they gave him a transition tag.
Yes. No.
Non-exclusive.
Which means he can still take offers from other teams, but if we didn't match it, we'd be entitled to 2 first-round picks.
Essentially, what Poles is doing is allowing somebody else to kind of help set the market for him. Period.
Okay, well, that's what he tried to do earlier on by letting him go and check the market, and he got nothing. He wasn't getting the 2. He was asking for a 2 before.
And that's what Poles is banking on now too.
Okay, yep. I'm ready.
So if that happened, and if we got that unlucky and lost Jaylon Johnson, that'd be terrible. But we got to actually look at the truth is, man, we just don't know exactly how this is going to play out. They are hoping to get to a deal before free agency and have that secured. But if Jaylon is pressing them and like, no, man, we ain't settling nothing for nothing other than, hey, we the best, and we want to get paid like it, they may not get to that. And let me take this down, man, because here's who I think I would circle if I were anybody: Sean Murphy Bunting, Levi Wallace, and maybe the veteran Kendall Fuller's got to be in that conversation. When you guys think? Go ahead, kids.
Yeah, I just don't see. I know they said they would do these things. I don't, man. The only reason they would do this again is if they flip Jaylon Johnson. If they flip him, they're getting first-round picks for it. Then you go and draft the guy, and you pick up probably the least expensive one of these guys, if that's the case. So, man, Kendall Fuller does jump into that conversation. He's right around that age limit that Poles has been known to go to, and you can get him on the low. You can get him on the cheap. Again, maybe there's sour. A sour taste, bitter taste in the Fuller mouth, given his brother used to be here for quite some time, right? I don't know. I'm not sure, but that's semi-interesting to me. Same thing, that's probably the only. I look at Jeff Okudah and I'm like, he has not quite done what he came out to do over the last few years. I mean, Detroit cut bait on him real early. I think the only guy that I guess maybe Shaq Griffin, because Shaq Griffin been around the block, played at a couple of different organizations and might be a decent fit. That's, again, older and cheaper.
Kendall Fuller's number is 13.6.
No chance under the sun.
Not under the sun.
No, not at 13.6. No.
I don't think we got to spend much time here, but anybody want to speak on this list here, go right ahead.
I would just say maybe Sean Bunting.
Murphy Bunting is he's a good, and what's his, this is last year, he's 3.5. What is he this year, Chris?
Sean Bunting's number for this year is $6.7 million.
There you go.
I mean, that's still not a bad price for Sean Murphy Bunting, man. Sean Murphy Bunting.
Not at all, brother. That's a bargain as far as I'm concerned.
What you thinking, Sean? I can see your digital thoughts across your head, and it's got food in it.
It does. All you getting kicked in the ding ding. Ding ding shots. Ding ding shots all over.
Sandwich.
Hey, I didn't say nothing, Sean. I want to be ding ding free.
No, we don't need to look at corner. I think we're set at corner. I think we're good.
You're right. You might be right, man. Maybe we come back if something happens between now and free agency where
you still got Terrell, the kid from Minnesota.
And we can draft one. We can always draft one.
Yeah, you got Jalen Johnson in the fold. You got Tyreek Stevenson. You got Terrell Smith. You're good. And not to mention Kyler Gordon. Right. Yeah.
Hey, there's nothing quite like a veteran corner.
When you're hungry, you think clearer.
Nothing.
Set an old corner.
Hey, whatever. But let's look at some linebackers, man, because here's another interesting list of guys. If you can leave that chat down for a second, Brian. How about you, kid? Let's go down and let your eye candy work, man. See what looks good to you on this list.
Like Devin White looks good, but not at the numbers he's going to be asking at this particular position. Again, this is a position of strength for us, in my opinion. I would heavily lean towards drafting an ILB, but if we're talking about maybe a transition, like we don't even need a transitional guy here.
Bro. We still got Noah Sewell.
Man, we don't. There's absolutely here's where I am with the linebacker position as a whole. If I have a luxury pick in the draft and I can select Peyton Wilson, I would do that. Late in the draft, Tommy Eichenberg. I might do that if I've filled the majority of my other holds. Outside of that, I wouldn't spend big money on an ILB right now.
I mean, we still got Noah Sewell, who we haven't really got a chance to really see what he can do. So I think we're good at this position.
Man, the undrafted free agent is killing it, right? Like Sanborn is killing it. There's I don't know. Yeah, that's behind the two guys we just decided to pay. And let me just say this, and I hope to continue to say this for the remainder of the season moving forward, and maybe for many seasons moving forward. But TJ Edwards is a dog, and that's all I got to say. Like, let's leave it right there. That man came out and picked up everybody's slack and gave them time to get back into position and prepare and become much more effective. That man, that being said, I would not be looking here.
I wouldn't either, kids, but I will say this. I'm a big Willie Gay Jr. fan.
I was about to say that.
I loved him in Mississippi State, man. That dude, he's an athletic freak. And I'm a big Willie Gay Jr. fan. His market value is only at $7 million too. So
you're gonna have a $7 million linebacker who's gonna be
I'm not gonna sign anybody. I just like him. You know what else I like, guys? Station IDs.
The best Chicago Bears content anywhere. Catch Nomad Live pregame 1 hour prior to kickoff and Nomad at Night postgame, and every Friday evening at 7 p.m. Central on all the most popular streaming platforms, and only on the Nomad Network.
Guys, what are we doing? I just saw a post. Somebody posted. We are 133 in the chat and only 38 likes, man. Come on now. Come on. Akin this to going to somebody's house with muddy shoes. You wipe your feet at the door, right? Before you come in the house, wipe your feet at the door. Make sure you do, if you did nothing else, hit the like button, please, because that definitely helps us. And if you're new to the channel, welcome to the family. Make sure you subscribe because we're all Bears fans, whether we agree or not. We help each other out, man. We support each other. We're just on the odd end of the spectrum right now, but we will come together after all of this is settled. And so do us a favor. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe and go over to Sports Zone Chicago and do the exact same thing for my guy, Shawn Sierra, the SuperBack, because we will both definitely appreciate you guys. With that being said, you guys, let's look at the probably the most intriguing two positions in free agency for us. I think safety is a strong third, but I think the two most intriguing positions in free agency for us is without a doubt D tackle and D end. Without me saying too much, kids, I'm just gonna let you dive right on into that and let you guys cut loose.
A lot of old folks here, man. Let's put that out there. Coming from an old man, so don't feel disrespected.
The geriatric list.
It is a geriatric list. Now, some of us I'm consider myself a geriatric too. Some of us geriatrics are real good at what we do, and that's where we are here, right? So, Chris Jones, I know his price.
Can you pause for 1 second, Chris? If you can look at Jonathan Grenard's value hit. Could you check that out for us? Because I don't see him on it.
I got you.
All right.
Go ahead. Falls in.
Yeah, Jones is a guy that you might. Again, we were talking a little bit about the Kansas City Chiefs yesterday and Patrick Mahomes and how they get to Super Bowls and things along those lines. And anyone who says that the defense didn't bring them to and potentially win that Super Bowl for them. They might, you might want to question that person, because I think the defense really held their season down. I don't think the offense was anywhere near as, it wasn't the powerhouse that it has been in the past. And that's just the truth. They wouldn't even let Kadarius Toney play because he's not doing what they need him to do. They said, forget it. I've never heard of a team just quitting on a player in the Super Bowl. You made it to the Super Bowl and he's not good enough to play. Weird. But hey, again, that's just my take. I would put the money behind Chris Jones potentially if they really are in a win now situation. If we're in a win soon situation, you might want to look at a guy more like Christian Wilkins. Maybe. Again, price tag. You know what I'm saying? Price tag might be a little bit high there too. Might be a little bit high. Chris, can you get me market value on Wilkins?
The market value on Christian Wilkins is $20.2 million, and I expect it to be north of that.
Yeah, you're probably right, especially because the salary cap went up, right? So, interesting situation. I don't know. Now, this is me talking again without looking at what we have on the roster. There's still a couple more names here that would be of interest, but considering what we have on the roster with Gervon Dexter, Zach Pickens still trying to learn and get reps, this would take reps away from them. You've also got Andrew Billings back there too, who they just re-signed to a decent contract. So once more, I'd be a little bit surprised if, again, we're not in like win now mode, if they spend a lot of money at defensive tackle. I think I think the defensive tackle position, the linebacker position, and the cornerback position are positions you just continually draft at year on year on year and build depth at this point. But that's my two.
Keith, do you mind if I jump in here right quick? You don't mind?
Yes, sir.
Because here's this, and I got to get this out of my head, man, because I'm still thinking about the most logical choices based on the personnel we have in the building, and I'm talking about the staff. And we got a coach from Buffalo that he's got a player here on the board that he can bring in, and it's saying $7 million. And also, Flus has got a player on the board who I would circle if I was you guys. He's 30 years old. But Flus built Grover Stewart from the ground up, from an HBCU to an all-pro tackle that is now on the free agent market. And those are the two names that I would circle, if we don't target a Christian Wilkins, which I think might be too expensive under the circumstances.
Are you talking about Daquan Jones or Tim Settle?
Daquan Jones.
Okay.
Tim Settle is a guy too, but if it's
more snaps.
Daquan Jones is 32 years old. Tim Settle probably one of those. If it's a choice, if he had a choice between the two, he probably want to keep Tim Settle. Yeah,
a lot more logical. Yeah, age, activity, and price tag.
But
Yeah.
You know,
I wouldn't. I
and
would not.
that's who I was actually going to I was going to zero in on other than Christian Wilkins. Tim Settle, because I just think because of, again, what they're trying to accomplish with regard to age. And then I'm gonna look at it two different ways. If we stick with who we currently have at QB, and I know we're not talking about QBs, or if we decide to draft a QB, where does that place us in regards to win now and to, okay, we're about still 2-3 years out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But honestly, considering who we have at coaching and the type of motor that Flus looks for in a guy, I would lean more toward Tim Settle. Double the number of snaps than Daquan Jones has had. Durability as well, as far as games played. Just overall, I think that would be the more logical solution if we were to spend money at that position.
Go ahead, Shawn.
I don't know if we really need a lot here.
Yeah.
I don't. I just, Javon Dexter's ready to take a step forward. I mean, unless you get one of these guys who you get for a one year deal, and at that point, I don't even mind an older guy. If it's a 1 year prove it deal, okay, cool. Then just, you know what? And you can get him, you can talk about Daquan Jones, all right, for $6-8 million. All right. Somewhere in there. Nothing too much to break the bank. All right. But I think these guys I think our defensive tackles, our interior D linemen are developing. And I don't think we need to hinder or stifle their development with a guy that's going to be taking up a lot of reps. Now, a veteran, he'll go in every so often and give him a breather. But I'm not really looking. I mean, obviously it'd be great to have Chris Jones. Of course it would. It'd be great to have Christian Wilkins. Of course it would. It'd be great to have a couple other people, but we don't need this particular thing. And so I'm just, I'm not.
I'd rather allocate that money elsewhere.
I'm not seriously looking at interior D line.
Okay.
I'm seriously looking at them.
I kind of tend to agree, and Burley someone makes a good point. If you're going to spend money on a defensive tackle, it only makes sense if you go out and swing for the home run by getting Wilkins. Even Chris Jones, possibly, but Chris Jones, I think he wants $30 million. Okay, $28.4 million. So I mean, if you're going to swing, if you're going to take reps from your developing guys, it's got to be for a guy that is going to make a difference, which would be Christian Wilkins. And I don't know if that's an option for Poles. I think more likely is they continue to let Dexter develop, and we expect, if you're like me, you're expecting a big jump from Javon Dexter this year. So if you pick up some extra draft picks, go and get a guy middle round or even sooner that you can develop behind him. You can never have too many good interior linemen. So unless you're swinging for the fence here, I don't even see them addressing this in all season, not in free agency.
Let me. This is my way of thinking, and this we'll wrap this up because we only got so much time to talk about D ends. And this is my way of thinking. If it makes sense to anybody, it makes sense. If it doesn't, I can understand. My way of thinking is because we have a new D coordinator, and because of him, I'm gonna go back to what I was saying about safety. It's a learning curve, and you need teachers not only as coaches, but you also need an example as players to really help them. Teach them the trade and help them understand the techniques and fundamentals to really be effective. Like Javon Dexter and Zach Pickens would really, really. And there's a couple of ways of thinking about this too. Is the second one I'm gonna get to, but the first one is the Tim Settle or the Daquan Jones, which he has product knowledge of, being Eric Washington. That's why I would circle those two guys for that reason. The next one is this is what may sound interesting to you guys. Zero Tech and knows Rover Stewart was known for. Flus built that guy from the ground up, trimmed like 15, 20, 25 pounds off of him and turned him into a Pro Bowler. 30 years old. However, what's interesting about him is you would think of him as a nose or a zero tech. Buckner went down for quite a bit of time this year. And guess who was playing 3 tech and killing it? Damn Grover Stewart. And so that's Flus's guy. And so I'm not saying that Flus will go out of his way and stand on the table for him. I think he would if the opportunity presented itself. But that beats the big, huge swing at 3 tech, which I agree with everybody, is we don't need to do. But we do need teachers and examples to really turn Dexter and Pickens around. If you got guys that can really do this and you put them on the roster, their learning curve becomes shorter. And so that's my way of thinking going into free agency at D tackle. I would circle one of the Buffalo guys and definitely circle Grover Stewart. And so we can move on to the D ends, man. Let's finish this conversation off with this. And I don't know how Leonard Williams got on this list, but Kedz, what is your? This is like
they have true DEs and edge rushers. You see, there's nobody's listed as an edge, so they combine DEs, true DEs, and outside linebackers. Daniil Hunter, he's gonna play on the edge. So kind of outside linebacker would mean edge in this case, I think.
I agree with you, sophisticated, about Javon Kinlaw, man. That's an interesting name you just mentioned.
Yeah, you know what? I was going to say something about Kinlaw, man. I was really high on him coming out of South Carolina, and he's really I don't know what the situation is down in San Francisco for him, but he just hasn't lived up to where I thought he would be. They might be able to bring out some. The guy was such a beast at South Carolina. I had Derek Brown slightly ahead of him in that draft. Derek Brown has proven to be the monster that we all thought he would be, but Javon Kinlaw is really kind of disappointed. He's only going to get about $4 million in free agency according to Spot Track.
I think he had conditioning issues and ran out of juice too many times. But when he was in shape, like I watched him this whole playoff run, and he was a beast. And I know he's coming into his contract year, and that triggers people to, play with some extra incentive. But yeah, I'll just say that about that guy, man. I think
he might be the exception. You give him a little money, he still might have some upside. You might, be able to flip the script on him here, and he can turn into what we thought he would be. So that might be, $4 or $5 million is nothing. That might be something that you try out.
Hey, guys, just for the record, Don trying it again right there.
Yeah, there you go.
He trying it again. You going to keep trying. Who you going to be tomorrow, man? Huh? You going to be Jared Goff?
Dave Montgomery?
It'll be Lynn Barney tomorrow.
So the best part was in the chat, Don was like, the new guy, he was sorry, I'm saying Don, but Jameer Gibbs was like, the new guy talking about settle. Who's settled? And like that just means that you've been watching the show for a long time, Jameer. And I don't know if you have been, but Don definitely has been and would recognize that the new guy's Keith. So hey, anyhow, you outed yourself again, Don. We love you. It's always awesome to have you in the chat, bro. It's hilarious. It's too funny. I found an awesome Lions troll picture for you. We'll have that up on the next show for sure.
You gonna take a crack at these edges though?
Kid? Why not, man? So like, geez, man. Daniil Hunter. I know that's flying in the chat. I can't argue with that except the price tag. Chase Young, I feel like you can get him at a much lower price than we would have if we got him earlier in the season.
Definitely.
Right. If we went with Chase as opposed to Montez Sweat, I think we would have paid out the nose at that time. So at this present time, I wouldn't be angry with bringing him on at a less than blockbuster deal, right? That's my thoughts. 20 mil, maybe a little bit less. Okay, that's commensurate for Chase.
His spot track number is 13 million.
No kidding. Yeah, like twice on Sunday. Then yeah, I'd do that for sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm willing to spend any money on Chase Young.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't.
Fair enough.
He hasn't shown me anything.
No.
And I'll give you this. I'll give Samo. I'll give him the props because he talked about Tez Sweat for a year. And I was firmly in the Chase Young camp. I thought he's coming back from this injury. He's going to be his old self. And Samo proved to be right. Yeah,
he definitely did. He definitely did. He was on the sweat train the whole time, and that's where we went. But again, I there's certain things that I feel like. The first thing is just that I think he's more of a team player than a superstar. And this is not superstar money, 13 mil. Putting him back in a familiar position with the guy he was on a team with might help ignite him. And that also, to me, I'm less worried about who the guy we get on the other side is, as long as he can be effective. If he can be effective and add pressure, and I believe Chase can, if somebody on the other side is bringing pressure. I also believe that has a domino effect with the guys in the middle. So one more reason why I'm not so focused on a DT this particular offseason. I think you focus on this guy, whoever this defensive end is, get one that could do the job. I wouldn't, just looking at this list, maybe a Chason. I like Chason. I don't think there's any chance Leonard Floyd would do any level of business with us here again. That's just me.
Y'all missing the lick on this one.
Oh yeah, who are you thinking?
Yeah.
Well, there's Epinesa.
If we don't throw the bag and land Daniil Hunter, I'm gonna go with familiarity again, and I'm leaning on Eric Washington. I would go with AJ Epinesa.
AJ Epinesa. Okay.
I think that's a good name. AJ Epinesa. Now they have his number at 5.7 million.
6 million.
There you
I
go.
would probably do that. I would do that and get a Chase Young. I'll just because of the dollars and cents involved. I would actually double down.
Do a twofer.
Well, it's what they did about that linebacker, right? They basically did a two for. They spent the big money on the one guy, got the second guy at a bit of a steal. I think you could probably do that right here with a Chase Young and an AJ Epinesa. If Chase Young doesn't pan out over a long time and Epinesa grows into the role, then you cut bait with Chase and you keep the second guy.
This is the thing with Chase. If you look at it like this, kids, with Chase, it's a prove it deal, a 2-year deal for him. Prove it or lose, and only the first year is guaranteed. You don't cut it, brother. You out. And Epinesa, I would put more into Epinesa because, again, the familiarity with regard to Eric Washington, what Eric Washington wants to do with that D-line and with that defense.
Yeah.
Guys, the name that we keep overlooking here, and I know I'm going to get some feedback, pushback from Nomad, is Bryce Huff. Bryce Huff's number is under $10 million. It's right at $9 million. Guy had the highest pressure rate per snap in the league the last 2 years. Now,
I'm not against you on this one, Chris.
Bryce Huff is, for that kind of money, my strategy would be simple. You sign Bryce Huff at $10 million a year, and you spend a high draft pick on a Jared Verse or a Liatu Latu, somebody that, and I know, he's setting the edge. He's a specialist. People say he doesn't set the edge because he's a little bit lighter, but that dude gets after the quarterback, and that's the name of the game. The highest pressure rate in the league for 2 straight years, that means something. And at $10 million a year, that's what we've been sorely lacking on that side of the ball.
Well, Chris, since you brought me out of the
come on.
Well, I'm never gonna be against Bryce Huff. Bryce Huff is a hell of a pass pressure. Man, he gets after the quarterback and he gets pressures, and that's just pressure is just as good as getting a sack. And when you look at it from a defensive standpoint, it's just as good because all you're doing is you're speeding up the quarterback's process. You can get a sack. You can also turn that into a bad throw, an early throw, and a
late throw. Yep.
Yes, all of that stuff makes a difference, man, because it disrupts the quarterback's timing. I would say this only because, and I don't know why Chris thinks I don't like the guy. It's not that. I think if you get a Bryce Huff, then you definitely need to get another defensive end while you're in there. Why? It's because he's a pass rush specialist. He does not capture the edge, which is why they use him on pass rushing downs pretty much solely in New York. And so if you're going to go and get Bryce Huff, which I would have no problem doing it, make sure you get some other guy there that can capture the edge and can play the other 3 downs, right?
And he would assume the role that Ngakoue was, had
Was
the
supposed to do.
last year, but he's a lot better at it than Ngakoue.
I wouldn't say that.
I would. He's got the highest pressure rate the last 2 years. That's what
Well,
says it. I'm not saying.
Well, you can say he was better than Ngakoue last year. All right, that's probably all you could say because Ngakoue has averaged 8.5 sacks before he came to us.
Yeah, but we're talking about pressure rate. We're not just talking about sacks. And we just said, pressure causes mistakes.
So you're telling me you think Bryce Huff is worth more money than Unique Ngakoue?
All day and twice on Sunday.
All right, let's move on. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, I'm a Danielle Hunter guy. I'm a Danielle Hunter.
Without a doubt. If I'm spending money,
you give me that because it definitely puts a lot more resources toward the defense, but we have the resources first and foremost. But secondly, it affects our offense greatly because how many meetings at the quarterback are Danielle Hunter and Montez Sweat going to have? Quite a few. Okay. You talk about pressure rate. There's your pressure rate. You got guys, and then where's he going to step up to? Is he going to step up into Billings' arms? Because that's why they re-signed him. That's exactly why they not to re-sign him. That's why they extended him. They didn't even re-sign him. They extended him in the season. Like, no, hold on, player. You ain't going nowhere. All right, because you can collapse the pocket. So
Sean,
I'll gladly pay a little premium for Danielle Hunter.
Sean, and let me say this. If I had to have one free agent in free agency, it would be Danielle Hunter. I'm still having nightmares about the 2 times we played him this year.
And let's not forget, like Nomad, one of Nomad's biggest things is now you're weakening a division foe.
Well, he's not going back to Minnesota. We do.
No, I hear you, but it's still, but you got that, but it's the weakening there and strengthening us.
He's a special player.
And what we got to look out for, and the reason why we need to try to throw the bag in, because Detroit is definitely sniffing after him. So we got to beat out Detroit to make sure we can get on our side. Otherwise, he's going to end up at Detroit.
Okay, let me round this conversation off and tell you
they do need defensive end help too, though. You're right. That's a good point.
Let me double check this list, Brian, if you don't mind not putting up anything. I don't see DJ Wanham here, and he should be on this list. However, that being said, DJ Wanham, the fact that they put both DJ Wanham and Danielle Hunter and let them hit free agency is wild to me. That tells me they're rebuilding. Those guys are highly productive. DJ Wanham has the traits. He's about 6'5", 6'6", maybe. I think about 260, 265 that might be a little heavy, maybe around 260, but it does have the traits. DJ Wanham is a guy, and he wouldn't be anywhere near expensive as Danielle Hunter, but he's also not Danielle Hunter. And so here's what I think is going to happen. They're either going to do one or two things. They're going to take the big, huge swing and get the standout in this group, in my opinion, is Danielle Hunter. Why? Because a couple of reasons. Because his production, number one. But number two is you definitely want to neuter your opponent the best way you can. And I think you put that guy on the other side of Montez Sweat, and I think you got some absolute pandemonium off your defensive front. And you can that's the kind of stuff that can get a team with the sufficient efficient offense into a Super Bowl. You can basically control the game with 2 defensive ends and nice tackles on the inside. You can absolutely control the game, clock, time with the ball for the quarterback to have more opportunities. You put those 2 dudes, this is what they talk about when they say defenses win championship. You put those two guys on the other ends of each other, and I'm telling you got fireworks, because our tackles are going to come along gradually. I think they all make a jump in their second year, and they'll be more productive than what you saw this year. But I think it's outstanding. If they were to get him, I'd be over the moon. However, if they didn't take the big swing, I think Chase Young might be a strong possibility. But I think the more viable possibility, if they don't want to take the big swing, is going to be AJ Epinesa, and people sleep on Jadeveon Clowney. Jadeveon Clowney he's 31 years old, but my God, is he wildly productive at this point in his career.
You keep trying to push Poles age limit, man. It's not gonna happen, brother.
Hey man, we don't know what the hell Pose is gonna do. I
I
ain't
keep
pushing
telling
nothing. I'm just talking about
you. Look,
likelihood.
now,
I
as you
know.
said before, pay attention to what the man says, and the man, and he has demonstrated that he has a particular age preference, especially with free agents. I'm just
If
repeating what
you
you
can
said,
get
brother.
Jadavion Clowney at a year for a few $1 million,
Jadeveon Clowney had one good season last year, brother. Prior to that, he has not really been producing. So you want to throw money at him just because of what he did at Baltimore last season?
Jadavion Clowney has been productive, bro.
Yes, I have to agree with Nomad on this.
Yeah, but
Let's
not to the
Get him
not to
for
the
a
point.
1 year rental. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
one
So-
year.
I don't
And
think he's.
after
I don't
the
think he's going to spend
yeah.
money on the 1 year rental. Like
He's not going to
I
spend
mean,
that kind of money
but
for 1
I don't-
year. Not with
But I
Jadeveon.
can't let y'all sit up here and dog Jadavion. Jadavion's been playing, dude.
I'm not dogging him. I'm not dogging Jadeveon. I'm just saying, according to what what his strategy has been, and what his metrics have been, I don't see him doing that. I just don't.
I'm all right with that, but I'm saying to you,
I don't see him drafting Caleb Williams either.
we got to get ready to close this show. But
There you go, Chris.
we got to close this show. But I just think if the big swing doesn't happen, these are a couple of options that he could do. There could be, I believe AJ Epinesa. I think he's going to end up a Bear one way or the other. I really do. If they take that route and go with Daniil Hunter, I think there's still a possibility they can get him. However, if they don't get the big swing, we got to get ready to close this, Keith. If they don't take the big swing, I think they go for 2 in free agency. But you know, that's neither here nor there. That's just my thinking versus everybody else's thinking, and we all have our own minds, and you know, we'll see what they do at the end of the day. But you know, let's get ready to wrap this thing up. Let's get some shout outs before we close this thing out, kids.
Hey, chat! You guys have been killing it. Lots of new names and faces today again. Paul Martin, Mr. Mayhem, you're one of the regulars. Big shout outs to you. AC Adam, yeah, I've been on fire. I'll stay on fire. Thomas Gage, shout outs to Jameer Gibbs, Brad Holmes, and Don Burr. We'll give all 3 of you a shout out because you're all the same person. Daryl Gibson, Derek Carter, Derek Brown, be yourself. Hey man, Jimmy, thanks for coming out, guys. It's been awesome. The only thing that I'll sort of leave off with by way of free agency on the defense, and we're gonna get to offense tomorrow. On the defense is I'm not sure how done the Bears are gonna be with Yannick Ngakoue. I know Chris is on the other side of that, hates the idea, but I think if you can get Yannick Ngakoue on the cheap, you might just do that and go get an AJ Epinesa. So I want to leave you guys with that. Chris, I know you're going to poop on that idea. Have at it.
It felt good too. You know what? Ngakoue has, we tried him and he miserably failed. It's hurt. Best of luck to him. Never want to see him again. Look, I'm just going to shout out to everybody in the chat. It's good to see you guys. Thanks for coming in the numbers. All the new folks, continue to support the channel. Please subscribe and hit the likes.
Hey, Chris, Daryl Johnson is calling you out. He said he's a day 1 subscriber, man. Nobody can give him a shout out.
Daryl Johnson.
Who's this?
Day 1 subscriber.
Yo, Johnson.
We love you, brother.
Love you, brother.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you. No, we do appreciate you. And so, guys, don't forget to hit the likes and the notifications. To my guys on the panel, Kedz, you looking good there, man. The new digs is right.
That thing is busting, man.
Keith, good to see you, man. Your digs looking good too, man. Always. Shawn Sierra, the SuperBack. Love you, brother, man. You guys make sure that you go over to Sports Zone Chicago and hit him with the likes and subscribes. Great content over there, and he's part of our family. Nomad, love you, man. Brian in the back, love you too. Hey, you guys. Caleb, who?
Hey, to the No Maniacs and our sports zoners, thank you again for chiming in and jumping into the chat with your spirited debate as well. Berlissimo, my man, I hear you, brother. You threw some names out there that wasn't on the list, and absolutely we need to pay attention to those as well. I'm going to finish out and close out with this thought here. Poles made a move the other night and made a trade and got Ryan Bates. And I think the reason for that is so that he can make sure he had that bag ready to go after Mr. Daniil Hunter. We're going to pay attention come next week. Shawn, on to you, brother.
Guys, sports owners, no maniacs, unite. Go check it out, Sports Zone Chicago. Hit us over there. Like us on our YouTube channel over there. We'd greatly appreciate it. We're trying to get some moves made, and we need your help, and it'd be greatly appreciated. But other than that, guys, great conversation. The chat was awesome. I love it. And, man, I can't wait to get back tomorrow.
And you guys, hey, everything everybody says spot on. It's kind of hard to finish after these guys have done all that, man. But I'll do my best. Love you guys so much, man. Everybody in the chat the chat every day is just crazy. And if you don't have energy to do the show, when you get in here and you look at this chat, it's going to give you energy. If not, you're not human. But love you guys. Love all the support. You're helping us grow these two channels, man. And we looking and seeing it. And I'm telling you guys right now, we keep saying it, but we're going to turn out to be the juggernaut out here and our two networks, man. And I'm telling you, just keep the love and support coming. And before you know it, this stuff is going to bust out of the frames. And we'll be right there neck and neck with anybody you think or anybody thinks is the top Bears podcast out there. I promise you that. You got my word on that. Got some things cooking. Got some things we're working on that, we can't really, take the blanket off right now. But you'll find out here soon what we got going on. And I think you guys are going to really like it. And so just stay tuned for that. There's going to be some real special changes coming to the Nomad Network and Sports Zone Chicago. And I wouldn't say changes more so than additions.
Growth.
Growth, yes. And so, we really hyped about, some of the things we're going to be able to do moving forward. And so, again, thanks everybody for the support. If you haven't, make sure you hit that like button on the way out. And if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed to the channel, whether you're with us on what we say or against us, man, make sure you understand that we're all Bear supporters. At the end of the day, when all this smoke clears, we're going to have to unite anyway. So you might as well start now and support the channels. And so with that being said, let me leave you guys with these famous words. Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.
Deuces.
To my guys on the panel, love you. Bear
Ding,
down.
ding. Ding dings. Remember that.